y'all? Martin Return to Fitness, your corrective exercise health and specialist. Got a Q&A for today. Now, I will say this. I want to keep these questions and the answer to these questions very simple because we have to consider that a lot of people don't necessarily speak the same language, especially if it's a person that hasn't worked out in a while or is just starting or considering to start working out. So I try to keep the questions, the answers to those questions, as simple as I possibly can without getting too scientific and blowing their mind. Before we get started, you already know what time it is. Look, I got to get ready to roll out. I'm going to Chicago this morning. Hit it in, get it out, but you know what time it is, right? About to get it going. So let's get started. So you know what? Yo, women, hold up. I supposed to say, what I supposed to say? Oh, let's... Mark Turner to Fitness, your corrective exercise health and wellness specialist, helping those willing to help themselves get in the best shape, optimize health for 2019. Oh my God, I am really messed up today. 2020 and beyond. Anyway, the question of the day is this: what is the most important thing to consider when thinking about building muscle? So that question was very good, and I'm gonna tell you why. If you go back and look at some of my old videos on YouTube, I really enjoy working out. Haven't been able to hit it the way I want to, being on the road. But I will say this. I'm back in there. But this question I definitely want to answer because this is one thing I take to heart when it comes to lifting weights. I come from a generation where it wasn't a lot of thinking behind it. There was mostly just getting in there and doing. But we live in a different type of world today. So you have to take a lot of considerations in, which I think sometimes with all those different considerations and all these different things you got to think about doing, it convolutes the workouts. It convolutes you getting to the goal. You see a lot of people online and they're shredded like a Julian salad. They are built, they are stacked, they are getting it in. I'm going to be honest with you. I said, not everybody is built the same. Not everybody has the same goals. But consider these things before you start. Why are you doing it? Why do you want to build muscle? That's one of the things you need to ask yourself. Why do you want to build muscle? Another thing you need to consider is, are you committed to building muscle? Are you dedicated? Are you committed? Or are you doing this just as a experiment on yourself? Now, I've done both. I've done it because I was committed, and I've done it as an experiment. And let me explain to you what I mean by an experiment and what I did it as a commitment. Now, in my younger day, I did it as a commitment. But the reason why I did it as a commitment because I was actually serving in the military. But I actually I had a passion for it being younger in my young age. I'm talking about young, around 8 years old and up. And that came from my grandfather because I was just to look at him and the strength that he had. And when he's today, I still consider him to be one of my heroes. But definitely he was a major influence along with my dad and my uncle. You know, they were major influences in me lifting weights. You know, I always try to avoid the fact that my dad was a coach and never thought about being a coach, but I guess everybody can be a coach in their own different rights. But back then it was a little bit different because it was get up, make sure you eat, let's get outside, run the track, we're gonna lift some weights, we build muscle, we get stronger. They add more weights, we get stronger, we spot each other. That was I think was more of a commitment for me to continue to grow myself and build myself up to get stronger. Now, when it came to the experiment of me building up muscle, it was more of me proving a point to clients where I actually put on weight and then I got it right off. Put on weight, got it right off. I will tell you this. The worst thing you can do is mess your system up, mess your metabolism up, because it's hard to get back into the right format, getting the right format. And this is where we start getting into the convoluted part of bodybuilding, because now you're talking about branched chain amino acids, which we need those proteins and stuff like that. Then you start talking about pre-workouts, post-workouts, testosterone boosters. You're talking about, and this is stuff, a lot of this stuff I don't really care too much about, especially like with it. If you ask me about it, I'm be honest with you, I didn't come up in that stuff. I've studied it, I've understood it, but it's one of those things I don't really put into the back of my mind. Like when I'm lifting weights, I'm lifting weights. If I want to build muscle, I'm gonna build muscle because I know how my body works. I have mind muscle memory or muscle memory. That's what I have. Consider this right here. I know there's a long answer, but it's something I'm very passionate about when it comes to lifting weights. So consider these things before you get started. Why are you doing it? Why do you want to lift weights? Are you trying to impress somebody? If it's just to impress somebody, don't do it. If you're going to lift weights for the benefit of yourself, if you're going to do it to make yourself feel great about yourself, do it for you. That's the biggest consideration you need to understand. Do the work for you because you have more satisfaction. You live in your own skin and you are going to become the best version of yourself. That's the answer I want to give you today when it comes to what you should consider before you start building or what you should consider as you start to build muscle. The question was a very simple question, but I think the answer can go so many different ways. So those are the things you should consider before you start building muscle. Don't just do it to impress somebody. Do it to improve yourself. Do it because you feel good about it and get started. That's the thing. I see a lot of these questions and I see some of these questions come from the same people and it's like they're second guessing themselves. Stop second guessing yourself. Start getting committed to yourself. If you're going to do it, just go do it. Okay? Surround yourself by people that's doing the work. Well, you know right now we got this coronavirus going on. But guess what? There are other options out there. You want to know more information? Look, you already got me on Quora. You're sitting there looking at me. If you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching this on Instagram or IGTV, whatever it is you're watching, if you find this interesting, I know I'm not the best speaker in the world. I'm not polished. I'm just being real with people, okay? So the thing is, get out there and make things happen. These are some great questions, and I love to answer these questions, but you got to get out there and make things happen. Look, y'all stay blessed. Stay turned up. Mark Turner Fitness, your correct exercise. Health and wellness specialist. Helping those women help themselves, get in the best shape, and optimize health for 2020 and beyond. Look, stay blessed. Stay turned up. Great question. Talk to y'all soon. Thinking of building muscle? That's a good question, right? What in the world is that? I don't even know what that was. Good morning, y'all. Mark Turner Fitness. Ooh, man, I'm over at the hotel up in Kentucky, but I do have a Q&A for today. I'm getting more, I'm kind of understanding more about how to answer these questions. I still want to have fun, but definitely want to answer the question the best way possible. Keep it simple. Do not make it over scientific for people, because I've been actually reading through a lot of the answers that a lot of the other people have answered on Quora, and I think a lot of these people can't really relate to what a person is saying unless you make it simple. If you're gonna make it scientific, make it simple, but please make it simple for the people out there, because some people don't understand what we're talking about, and I even have to dumb myself down in order to answer some of these questions. But before we get started, let me tell you what the question of the day is. The question of the day is this. What's going on, big dog? The question of the day is this. What should I consider? What's the most important thing to consider when? But anyway, the question again was, what is the most important thing to consider? What is the most important thing to consider? You know what?